You're listening to Something Cheeky, a collection of podcasts where two sisters discuss TV, books, and movies with just enough irreverence and far too many pop culture references. Welcome to Something Cheeky, the Gentleman Bastards edition, where we discuss the Lies of Locke Lamora, book 1 of the series by Scott Lynch. I'm Nikki.
I'm Rosanna.
Today we're covering the 8th interlude, the Half-Crown War. In this chapter we get some Three Stooges action as the boys fight another gang of kids. Rosanna, what was your revelation from this interlude?
My revelation is that Locke can take a beating.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that the reason that this interlude was put right after the last chapter is because Locke got beat up hardcore in the last chapter. And this is showing us that even from his early training, he's learned to take a beating and as part of what needs to be happening and to be able to move on with it, to continue with whatever the plan is, to not let it overwhelm him.
Seems like it's become basically a tool for him, just like makeup.
Yeah. I mean, he gets beat up a lot, it seems like.
He really does.
Which I feel bad, but I mean, if he doesn't learn to fight, and I think it's really nice that he's learned that he can rely on Jean, and that Jean knows that he's important because Locke needs him. I mean, they need each other.
Aww.
So, I think that's nice.
Such a nice friendship validation.
Yeah.
That's why I keep you around, because
I know.
You keep me from getting beaten up.
No, I rescue you after you've been beaten up. I don't want to get beat up.
I've never been beat up, so technically you could claim
I have protected you from every beat down.
Mm-hmm. My entire life.
I've actually never been beaten up either. I've never been in a fight, so. Not a physical fight. I mean, I'm really good at yelling fights.
Even when we used to fight when we were kids, we never got physical.
I know, and so many people think that's weird because they used to, brawl with their siblings.
But we were mean to each other. Man, we were mean.
We pierced with words.
We really did.
Yeah.
It's like that Louis C.K. bit where he talks about how boys will ruin your house, but girls will break your soul.
Yes.
They can be so mean.
That is accurate.
Mm-hmm. What was your favorite quote this time?
Well, funnily enough, we're talking about girl fighters. My quote has something to do with that.
Ah.
So the girls are facing off with Jean.
Yeah.
And they're like, you shouldn't hit girls. And he was like, okay, but you're gonna hit me. So he gets done totally beating them up and he said, ladies, you must accept my deepest apologies. And I love that. Because he's like, yeah, I'm gonna beat you up no matter what because you're trying to beat me up, but I am sorry.
Mm-hmm. I will observe the niceties.
Right. I like that. I like, too, that they talked about how, even though you couldn't tell from the outside necessarily that he'd been doing all this work.
Yeah.
He really has gotten good.
Very muscular underneath the layer of blubber.
Yes. Which keeps you warm in the winter, so it's okay.
It does. I'm sure he's very cozy.
I believe so.
Into the action. I know that you waited a few days in between reading the chapter of the interlude. I went straight into the interlude. Mm-hmm. And it was really jarring to go back to just normal times with the boys.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. I had to wait.
It was almost, I had to stop for a second when I read the first line. It was just everything back to normal.
Yeah.
It's like everything is so, you guys have no idea what's going to happen to you.
Yeah, it's unsettling.
We see them start to learn about the different religions. James gets them sent around to become initiates of the different faiths, the 12, and learn things that only initiates would know. And then they, quote-unquote, die to come back to fight James.
Yeah.
I was not surprised that Locke was planning elaborate deaths for himself.
Oh my gosh, yeah. He couldn't just disappear.
Yeah.
There has to be blood.
He had to leave mysteries behind.
Yeah.
Kahlo's drowning himself. Galdo was just disappearing in a storm. And Locke is leaving bloody shirts and letters in an alley.
Oh my gosh.
He's so dramatic.
He is. He's very dramatic.
We come upon Locke in the Sansa twins. They're waiting for Jean, and they get cornered by this gang of small thugs, the half-crowns, which is very cute because they're seconds to the full crown.
Right.
Oh, I was surprised that Galdo said they were gentlemen bastards. It had seemed like a secret name to me until then.
Oh, huh.
But maybe that was just me.
And that's, early that they were saying that even. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
I wonder when they came up with the liar bastard game, because we don't hear that from them until they're with Bug. So I wonder if Chains used to play it with them.
Yeah, maybe. Well, did they not play it at dinner when Locke...
Bug was there, though.
That was when they were grown, not when they were young.
Yeah, that was our first.
Interesting.
Yeah, introduction to Bug. I wonder.
Yeah.
Locke's fighting sounded adorable. He was swinging at the air. He had girls sing on his back. He just couldn't get off, and totally ineffective.
He had learned no self-defense at this time.
Oh, none at all.
Mm-mm. Not even like pull hair or go for the eyes, nothing.
Oh, just incapacitated immediately.
Yeah.
But we learn later he's fast, so at least he has that going for him.
I suppose. That only gets you so far.
That's the one thing that Gene isn't. He said he can't keep up. He can't keep up when they run away.
That's true.
Yeah. They all come home completely beaten up. Chains tells them they have to figure out how to win, basically, to get the preference from the half crowns. With Gene with them, of course. First plan of action. I was imagining this montage of them getting beat up every day, interspersed with Locke sitting at a little desk, bruised up, like drawing out plans on how to get them the next day.
With like his head wrapped.
Yeah.
And an ice pack on it. Yeah.
Every day a new bruise or cut on it.
Yeah. Definitely.
But the next day, immediately, they're just waiting in the same exact spot, like sitting ducks. But Gene is there to ambush them. And we see just how much Gene has learned. He's not just running at somebody with his fists. He actually has strategy.
Yeah. And doesn't need his temper for fuel.
Right.
Yeah.
I appreciated that because they're fighting, what was it, soft touch? Was that what it's called?
But can't kill each other.
They can't fight with weapons, yeah. But Gene learned that when you don't have a weapon, using things around you is helpful, like a brick wall to throw someone into.
Yeah.
So he immediately takes down 3 people out of the 6, and the other 3 go for Locke and the twins. And then Gene saves Locke after he takes them down, too. And of course, the twins manage to keep a handle on things. So we learn they're at least decent fighters, too.
Yeah. Well, and they're older.
Yeah, they are a couple of years older, it sounds like.
So they're a little bit bigger, maybe.
Yeah. I imagine they're wiry. I don't think they're described that way, but that's how I picture them.
Yeah, slim is what I picture.
So the Gentleman Bastards win this fight, but they're still not given preference. And it starts this war for months, it sounds like. Where the Gentleman Bastards are just hunting down the crowns. They're trying all these different schemes. Except Locke keeps getting beat up whenever he's alone.
Yeah.
Which he can't avoid.
Right.
I'm sure that helps him figure out how to manage pain, which is useful.
Yeah, I think that this is probably an important time for him.
Yeah.
I don't want to ever be used to getting beat up.
Oh, no.
That sounds terrible.
I imagine Locke, after getting his head punched so many times, maybe he has lost some brain cells. He could have been an even better sneak thief than he is.
Yeah, could be.
Not getting beaten up as a child.
Yeah, maybe like a concussion, I'm sure. I don't think you're supposed to have more than a couple of those in your lifetime.
Yeah. Locke comes up with this plan to get beaten up himself and for Gene to come up afterward.
Right.
And it's the first time that we see Locke basically use himself getting beaten up as a tool, but also sacrificing himself for the good of the plan.
Right.
Or for the furthering of a plan that he has.
Yeah.
Gene makes this extra long sleeve for him. It has the lead weight he can swing around, and I was picturing some sort of weird straitjacket kind of thing.
Yes, yeah.
He gets Tesso caught up. I love the image of Gene just rowing furiously to get to shore so he can come and save Locke.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he had to be that far away. But I guess.
But the last line was that Locke just had to take it until Gene got back, and he kept repeating that. And that gave me hope for Locke in the present.
Yes. If he could just hang on in the barrel until Gene can jump into the water and tear apart this cask or whatever.
God, I can picture that. I can picture his adrenaline letting him just rip.
Oh, well, and
thing.
Even though Gene doesn't need his temper to help him, I think he would definitely have it available at this point. So, yeah, I think he could probably do, mama picking up a car to save her baby sort of a strength happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought too when I read this. I said, this interlude is telling us that Locke can hang on until help arrives.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. And Gene can Baywatch him to shore and everything will be okay. So this is a question that's not really related, but just thinking of them when they're younger again. Do you think that when they were younger, they had any idea of how much money they'd be bringing in and how much trouble they'd be getting themselves into?
No. I think that Father Chains probably always had in mind that they were going to be very successful stealing. But I think at this point, these guys they're just growing up. They're doing what they're being taught to do because it is giving them a more comfortable life than what they had before. They're doing what Father Chains tells them to do because he makes sure that they have a place to sleep and food to eat and a little bit of pocket money and whatever they need. And I think that they're just concerned about, even after a couple of years, I think they'd still be worried about their security, especially Gene, because he was very safe and comfortable.
Yeah.
For a long time, and that was just taken away from him very quickly. So, and especially like the twins, I mean, they're so playful and silly, and I think they're just content, I guess, with the way things are right now, and they'll do what Father Chains tells them to do because they trust him and he takes care of them.
Yeah.
I don't know that any of them are thinking, in 15 or 20 years, is this going to make me enough money to live on?
We start to move into as soon as this chapter's over, we're moving into a new section of the book. So we had section 1, which is called Ambition.
Okay.
And that's when we had the first beginnings of the Don Salvara game. And we had the Midnighters. And then section 2 was called Complication, which is where we met Kappa Barsavi, we met the Grey King, and then all this happened. The next section is called Revelation.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think that this might refer to revealing the Grey King's plan or reason for his plans. Okay. I'm not sure what else we're going to reveal at this point. I hope that it's that.
Well, that's the thing you've been waiting to find out all this
time.
Yeah!
I don't get this guy.
You just need the motivation.
I do. And I'm not saying that knowing the motivation is going to make me like him anymore, because he seems like a pretty rotten person. But I'm not opposed to feeling some sympathy for him if he got a raw deal at some point. I don't know. But just not knowing, it's hard to judge.
Yeah. Next week we're going to read chapter 9, which is called A Curious Tale for Countess Amberglass.
What? Who is that, a person? Countess Amberglass?
Wasn't Amberglass one of the towers?
Countess Tower? What? Amberglass. Countess? Okay.
I will tell you, it's when Locke is saved by Jean and he dresses up in drag and he goes to the Amberglass Tower in Hope's Court.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm alright with that.
Everything's fine.
I probably don't even need to read the next chapter then, actually.
Can you imagine if you had to stop reading this book right now?
That would make me really sad.
Yeah.
Also, it makes me want to see Locke and Drag, so I'm just saying. I mean, now what?
That would be fun. The next interlude is called The Schoolmaster of Roses.
The Schoolmaster of Roses. All right. This is not enough information for me to give any predictions. I'm just going to tell you that right now.
I just want to say, do you notice that neither of these seem to indicate anything about what's happened to Locke?
Yeah, none. No indication whatsoever. It's not like, and we fished a live Locke out of the lake.
A live Locke out of the loch?
Yes. He's the Loch Ness Monster.
We're suddenly in Scotland.
Yeah, these do not have any, what's the word? Connection to what's happening. To people I know already. It's probably just a completely different book that just starts in the middle of this one.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Scott Lynch.
I'm so happy that you don't get to even know what the chapters are called. Because some of them are kind of spoilerific, so.
Are they? Good to know.
I mean, don't ever look at the chapter list.
I don't. Especially, it's actually pretty easy not to look at the next one since I read it usually in my Kindle.
Okay.
And I can see when it's the end of the chapter, so I just don't go to the next page.
Oh, I don't think I told you before. Somebody from one of our listeners from Belgium had mentioned that the audiobook is great. Just the reading is really, really great.
Oh.
He said it's just absolutely wonderful. So hello, David. It's nice to see you.
Thank you, David.
Yes. So you should listen to that.
So, okay, the only thing I worry about with an audiobook is not paying attention and going ahead.
That is dangerous.
Do you know who reads it?
I don't. I'll look it up really fast. Hold on.
This is a good suggestion, but now I don't know. Should I? Should I not?
What you could do is wait till the book's over and then listen again before we start the next one.
Actually, that's a good idea. I probably should do a recap before we start the next book anyway. And if the audio version's good, I'd love to listen to it and not worry about skipping ahead.
I don't usually listen to them, but...
I love audiobooks. Love them.
I have that trouble too. I get distracted and I am missing parts.
I think that's why I can't do it as part of this process, because I really need to be focused and writing stuff down and really paying attention to going slow. But yeah, listening to it all at once at the end might be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it looks like Michael Page is the narrator, at least for the one on Amazon.
I'm not really an expert in voice actors, so I guess I just wanted to know if it was Scott Lynch or not. It's my biggest which is fine. Yeah. Maybe I'll listen to a sample of it. Because, in Audible, you can get just like a minute.
Yeah.
So, and usually it's something towards the beginning of the book, so it wouldn't be a spoiler.
Do you have any additional predictions about what's going to happen? So, now that we've seen Locke just get in tons of trouble, does this change your idea of how this book might end?
From the brilliant idea I had of how it was going to end before? No. I still have no idea how this book's going to end.
Okay.
So how much of the book do we have left, did you say?
We're on chapter 8, and there were 13 chapters and interludes.
So we're more than half.
Oh, wait. No, I'm wrong. Why did I think there were only 13? There are 16 chapters and interludes, and then...
So we're halfway through.
There's an additional kind of chapter on its own. Yeah, we're halfway through.
So 17 chapters.
Well, I don't know if you want to call it a chapter or not, but we'll see.
All right, so we're halfway through. So much has happened in these first 8 chapters. So there's still a lot that could happen. So that doesn't really help with my idea that maybe we're going to be wrapping up the story, because I don't think we're going to.
Yeah, we've got a while. We still have another entire section, like Ambition and Revelation and all that.
I wish very, very much that I had something really smart to say right now. But I don't. I don't know what's going to happen next.
That's one of my favorite parts about reading, though, is that's one great thing about Scott Lynch. He's unpredictable.
I have no idea what's going to happen. Yeah, I mean, I
hate when I read a book and I'm like, oh yeah, it seems like this is going to happen, but they wouldn't do that, and then it happens.
Yeah, this is no Nora Roberts book. Those books are the same story in every single book.
I have not read them. Those are romance novels, right?
Just read one.
And then I've read them
all. The rest is the same except different character names in different locations.
Okay.
Yeah. They're romancy-ish. Anyway, they're not at all like this. I have no idea where this is going. I'm still sad about Nazca. I really am. And of course, as always, my prediction, holding out for a meet and greet with Sabbatha.
Maybe she saves Locke.
Oh, that would be lovely. Oh, and she has red hair, so she's like Ariel, and he's like Prince Eric. And she wants to be part of his world. Yeah, let's do that.
I feel like Sabbatha would be offended by that.
What? Okay. Maybe.
Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat?
She has a lot of stuff that she could say, look at this stuff.
Holy crap, yeah.
She's got a whole... What's the box called that they take stuff out of to give to the pawn shop?
What?
They take...
Oh, I thought you were talking about Ariel. I'm like, no. There's pawn shop? I was picturing Mary Poppins' bag where they just keep pulling things out.
It's the under the sea pawn
box.
Shop. Oh yes,
the bullshit box.
She's got a lot of little doodads in that box that she could sing about if she wanted.
I was trying to figure out what version of
The Little Mermaid had a pawn shop.
I want to see that one.
Yeah, it's a little darker.
That's our episode. Please leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts. And you can follow us on Twitter at SomeCheek and Facebook.com/SomeCheek.
And visit our website to send us questions and to learn about our other podcast, SomethingCheekyPodcast.com.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
Dig-a-da-dum, dig-a-da-da-da-dum.